One of the most heated, controversial, and emotional issues, not only here in this country but throughout the world, is gun control. The extreme political left would lead you to believe that having no guns of any sort would be the answer to gun violence, and to be quite honest about that view, in a perfect world that sounds great, but we all know that it's not going to happen. They argue that less guns save lives and reduce crime. I'll touch on that a little bit later though. The extreme right argument is the right to bear arms, the Second Amendment states, is for their protection in their right. I would say that the political right will probably be okay that anyone can carry guns. The Second Amendment of the U.S. Constitution states, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms should not be infringed. The political left and even some professors in college have stated that this amendment is outdated and needs to be rewritten or revisited. A political right says that it is their right to bear arms and their safety from government tyranny. An expert taken from the book Guns and Crime says, think of the growing concealed handgun permit holders as thousands of walking safety bubbles, moving through society and undoubtedly crossing your path while protecting you and your family without even knowing it. Taken from Infowars.com, if you look at history, it should be alarming and disturbing that our government wants to control, take, and regulate guns to the extreme. It is true that there's a parallel with the Nazi Germany implemented and other socialist governments have done. In the politics of gun control, it talks about throughout history countries such as the Soviet Union, Red China, Rwanda, and others where guns were regulated with bans, gun registry, illegal carrying, confiscation powers, all assisted those governments being able to kill their citizens. What has brought this issue to the forefront is the senseless mass shootings that have occurred over the past several years, such as the Columbine High School in 1999, as recent as Washington Navy Yard on September 9th of this year. Over 50 mass shootings have occurred over the past 20 years, and all of them were significant to the victims and their families, with some being more prevalent than others. The Washington, D.C. shooting, 13 people died. The weapon of choice was a shotgun. The Newtown school shooting, 28 people died. And the weapon of choice was handguns and rifles. The Aurora, Colorado movie theater shooting, 12 people died. The weapon of choice was a handgun and a rifle. The Virginia Tech shooting, 33 people died. The weapon of choice was 2 handguns. The Waco University shooting, 7 people died. The weapon of choice was a handgun. And of course, the Columbine High School shooting, 15 people died. The weapon of choice was handguns, rifles, and shotguns. I could go on for several minutes speaking of all these senseless deaths, naming the victims I respect. I would never name any shooters, giving them more notoriety. MotherJones.com website starts in August 20th, 1982, from a workplace violence instance to the Washington, D.C. shooting of 2013. The most important aspect of these shootings is that the mental health and lack of stability of each of these shooters and countless others I didn't mention, had depression issues, medication issues, evaluation issues, hearing voices, paranoia, and a host of other mental conditions. Here in Maryland, mental facilities such as Spring Grove, Crownsville, and Glendale, just to mention a few, had closed their doors due to budget restraints, and it's not getting any better. The governor of Maryland, the Honorable Martin O'Malley, just denied $7.2 million to the mental health profession. Needless to say, that did not sit well with those in that field. This money would have afforded medications, counseling, and beds to those who use the mental health system, such as the shooters. According to the Fusion Center study, 79% of the mass shootings between 2011 to 2013 all had mental health issues and were unstable in some fashion. All the gun controls in the country would not have helped these people with demons in their head. Maybe more effort and money is needed to go back into the mental health programs. As we know, there are 50 states in the Union. The carry laws continue to evolve. Citizens' rights differ from state to state, with shall issue, may issue, unrestricted, no issue, or disputed. My favorite is unrestricted, which means just that. Unrestricted or no permits required. Those states that are unrestricted are Alaska, Arizona, Arkansas, Vermont, Wyoming. A shall issue jurisdiction is one that requires a permit to carry a concealed handgun. For the granting of such permit is subject only to meeting criteria laid out in the law. The granting authority has no discretion in the awarding of the permits, and there is no requirement of the applicant to demonstrate good cause. The laws and shall issue jurisdiction typically state that a granting authority shall issue a permit and the criteria are met, as opposed to laws in which the authority may issue a permit at their discretion. Typical permit requirements include residency, minimum age, submitting fingerprints, passing a computerized instant background check, attending a certified handgun safety class, and showing proficiency. These requirements widely vary by jurisdiction. A may issue jurisdiction is one that requires a license to carry a concealed handgun, and where the granting of such permits is partially at the discretion of local authorities. The law typically states that a granting authority may issue a permit if various criteria are met, or the permit applicant must have good cause to carry a concealed weapon. In most situations, self-defense in or of itself often does not satisfy the good cause requirement, and issuing authorities in some may issue jurisdictions have been known to arbitrarily deny applicants without any substantive reason for the denial. The gun permit process here in Maryland is now taking several months, with several thousand people waiting for an answer. According to the FBI, the top 10 deadliest cities in 2012 were Cleveland, Baltimore, with 212 deaths, by the way, New Hampshire, Birmingham, Stockdale, Memphis, St. Louis, Oakland, Detroit. The most important fact to pull from these statements is that these cities have some of the strictest gun control laws in the United States. So you be the judge. Has the gun control laws worked? One might also say that gun control may not be the problem because prior to all the new gun laws, there was newer gun laws already on the books. It would suggest that many of those laws aren't being enforced, so why should we believe that the new laws are going to be enforced? Obviously, the news media and other groups flock to these mass shootings, so why isn't there any little reference to the hundreds of people being gunned down in our city each and every day? Maybe this wouldn't fit in their agenda. Sometimes in the near future, the extreme left and the extreme right need to find a happy medium with common sense legislation. It seems to me that carry laws make complete sense of training and background checks, maybe being a part of the process, get to be simplified with less red tape. In closing, I would hope that common sense would prevail here, but in 2013, which right is wrong and which wrong is right. If it's true that guns kill people, then spoons make people fat. Pencils misspell words, knives kill people, and cameras called child pornography, and so on and so on. Should we ban all materials that kill people? Did you know that according to FBI statistics from the book Guns and Crime, that there's more deaths from the human fist and hammers and rifles each year? So why the ban on rifles? Is it no overreaction or a feel-good measure? Maybe the government should ban hammers. I look at this and surely makes no sense. It makes sense to me. A criminal is outside of two. I'll leave you with this. A criminal is outside of two banks that are side by side. One bank has a concealed weapon policy with trained and approved personnel. The other is a gun-free zone, just like the signs in our school. Which one is a criminal going to rob?